The year is 2342. Humanity had finally ventured beyond the familiar cradle of the Sol system, our ships piercing the veil of interstellar space, driven by an insatiable curiosity and the whispered promise of new worlds. We weren't alone. We discovered the Carwell, a race of bioengineered warriors, their bodies honed for combat, their minds wired for conquest. They were formidable, their technology a strange blend of organic and mechanical, their culture steeped in the brutal traditions of a warrior caste. They had carved a bloody empire across several star systems, their names spoken in hushed tones by the conquered races. And they were expanding. The Carwell encountered humanity on the fringes of explored space, a chance meeting that would ignite a conflict spanning galaxies. Initially they saw us as insignificant, a fledgling species barely worthy of their attention. They underestimated us. They saw our diverse cultures, our sometimes chaotic governments, our focus on art and science, and mistook it for weakness. They didn't understand the resilience forged in the crucible of Earth's history, the stubborn streak of defiance that ran through our veins. They didn't see the fire that burned in the human heart, the unwavering belief in our right to exist. The first contact was messy. A small exploratory fleet, led by the Dauntless, a sleek, state-of-the-art vessel captained by Anya Volkov, encountered a Carwell patrol. The Carwell, arrogant and dismissive, demanded the humans turn back, claiming the sector as their own. Volkov, a woman known for her quick thinking and even quicker temper, refused. She argued that humanity had as much right to explore the galaxy as any other race. The Carwell responded with force. The ensuing skirmish was brief but brutal. The Carwell, with their superior firepower and battle-hardened crews, quickly crippled the Dauntless. Volkov, however, refused to surrender. Using a combination of tactical brilliance and sheer audacity, she managed to inflict significant damage on the Carwell patrol before the Dauntless was finally disabled, adrift in the cold void of space. The Carwell, surprised by the ferocity of the human resistance, captured the crew, intending to interrogate them and learn more about this unexpected threat. Among the captured crew was Lieutenant Jian Li, a young, brilliant astrophysicist who had joined the expedition seeking adventure and knowledge. Li was a quiet, observant man, more comfortable with equations than with combat. He never expected to find himself a prisoner of a hostile alien race, facing an uncertain future. He watched with a growing sense of dread as the Carwell warriors, their faces masked and emotionless, led them aboard their massive warship, the Dominator. The Dominator was a terrifying spectacle, a hulking vessel that seemed to be more alive than machine. Organic tendrils pulsed beneath its metallic hull and strange, bioluminescent lights flickered across its surface. The interior was even more unsettling, a labyrinth of dark corridors and cavernous chambers filled with strange, humming machinery and the unsettling sounds of alien creatures. Li and the other crew members were imprisoned in a dimly lit cell, the walls pulsating with a faint, rhythmic pulse. The air was thick with a strange, musky odor that made their stomachs churn. Volkov, despite her injuries, remained defiant. She knew that humanity's survival might depend on what she and her crew could learn about the Carwell. She had to find a way to escape, to warn Earth about the impending danger. She had to find a way to fight back. But the Carwell were not easily fooled. They were cunning and ruthless, and they had a long history of crushing rebellions. They knew how to break their prisoners, how to extract information. The Carwell leader, a towering figure known only as the Commander, observed the human prisoners from his command center. He was intrigued by their resilience, their refusal to break. He saw something in their eyes, a spark of defiance that he had rarely encountered in other species. He decided to take a personal interest in their interrogation. He wanted to understand these humans, to understand their strength, to understand their fear. He wanted to know what made them so different from the other races he had conquered. The commander summoned Volkov to his chambers. He wanted to speak with her, to test her, to see if she was as strong as she appeared. Volkov, despite her fear, accepted the summons. She knew this was her chance, a chance to gather information, a chance to plant the seeds of resistance. She walked into the commander's chambers, her head held high, her eyes fixed on the imposing figure before her. The fate of humanity, perhaps, rested on her shoulders. The commander looked at her, a strange glint in his cold, reptilian eyes. "You humans," he said, his voice a low growl, "you are a strange and unpredictable species. I am curious to see what you are capable of." He paused, a long, pregnant silence filling the room. "Tell me, Captain Volkov," he continued, "what do you fear most?" Volkov stared back at him, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew her answer would determine not only her fate but the fate of her crew, perhaps even the fate of humanity. She took a deep breath and with a voice as steady as she could muster she replied, "We fear nothing, Commander. We are humans. We endure." He dared to challenge the commander's reptilian eyes narrowed. He had expected fear, perhaps desperation, but not defiance. He leaned forward, his massive frame casting a long shadow across the chamber. "Endurance?" he echoed, a hint of amusement in his voice. "A fascinating trait. But even the strongest steel can break under enough pressure. We shall see how long your endurance lasts, Captain." He gestured to a screen behind him which flickered to life, displaying images of the Dauntless, crippled and adrift. "Your ship is a testament to your resilience. A pity it will become a monument to your failure." Volkov's gaze remained fixed on the commander, but a flicker of concern crossed her face. She knew the Dauntless was more than just a ship, it was a symbol of humanity's expansion into the stars. Losing it would be a blow to morale, a victory for the Carewall. "The Dauntless is just one ship," she replied, her voice steady. "Humanity has many more. And we are not easily deterred." The commander chuckled, a low, guttural sound. "Arrogance. Another human trait. You speak of your numbers, your technology. But you are a young race, Captain, barely scratching the surface of the galaxy's secrets. We have seen civilizations rise and fall, empires crumble into dust. We have learned that strength lies not in numbers, but in unity, in purpose, in unwavering devotion to a single cause." He paused, his gaze sweeping over Volkov, searching for a sign of weakness. "You humans are divided. Your cultures clash, your governments squabble, your people are consumed by petty squabbles. You lack the unity of purpose that drives the KRYL. That is your weakness." Volkov remained silent, her mind racing. She knew the commander was right. Humanity was far from perfect. But she also knew that beneath the surface of their differences, there was a common thread, a shared humanity that bound them together. It was this shared humanity that she had to appeal to, this shared humanity that she had to defend. "We are not a monolithic empire, Commander," she said finally. "We are a tapestry of cultures, a symphony of voices. Our diversity is our strength. It allows us to adapt, to innovate, to overcome challenges that would cripple a more homogeneous society. We may argue among ourselves, but when faced with a common threat, we unite. We become one." The commander raised an eyebrow. "One. You speak of unity, yet your ship was easily disabled. Your crew easily captured." "We were outnumbered," Volkov countered. "And we were caught off guard. We did not expect such hostility from a race that claimed to seek only peace." The commander laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Peace? You speak of peace? Peace is a luxury, Captain, a dream for the weak. The galaxy is a battlefield, a constant struggle for survival. Only the strong survive. And the KRYL are strong." He leaned closer, his face inches from Volkov's. "You humans are weak, Captain. You cling to your ideals of peace and cooperation, while the galaxy devours those who are not prepared to fight. You will learn this lesson soon enough." He turned away, dismissing her with a wave of his hand. "Take her back to her cell. Let her contemplate her delusions." Volkov was escorted back to her cell, her mind reeling. The commander's words had shaken her. He was right about humanity's divisions, about their naivete. But she refused to believe that humanity was doomed. She had to find a way to unite them, to awaken them to the true danger they faced. Meanwhile, in another part of the Dominator, Lieutenant Lee was struggling with his own demons. He had always been a man of science, a man of logic. But the reality of his situation was beyond anything he could have imagined. He was trapped in a hostile alien world, surrounded by creatures he barely understood, facing a future he could not predict. He tried to analyze the KRYL technology, to understand their motives, to find a weakness. But the more he learned, the more he realized how little he knew. The KRYL were a mystery, a puzzle he couldn't solve. Their biology, their culture, their technology, it was all so alien, so different from anything he had ever encountered. He thought about Earth, about his family, about the life he had left behind. He wondered if he would ever see them again. He wondered if humanity would survive this encounter with the KRYL. He looked at the other prisoners, their faces etched with fear and uncertainty. He saw the same questions reflected in their eyes. They were all adrift, lost in the vastness of space, facing an unknown enemy. Suddenly the cell door hissed open and a KRYL warrior entered. He gestured to Lee, indicating that he was to come with him. Lee's heart pounded in his chest. He had no idea where he was being taken, what awaited him. He could only hope that whatever it was, he would be able to endure it. He followed the KRLL warrior out of the cell, into the labyrinthine corridors of the Dominator, his fate hanging in the balance. And paid the price. HFY Stories was led through the twisting corridors of the Dominator, the alien architecture a bewildering mix of smooth organic surfaces and sharp metallic edges. The air hummed with an almost palpable energy, a strange vibration that resonated deep within his bones. He passed chambers filled with strange, pulsating machinery, glimpsed alien creatures moving in the shadows, their forms fleeting and indistinct. The KRLL warrior escorting him remained silent, his expressionless mask fixed on Lee, adding to the growing sense of unease. Where were they taking him? What did the KRLL want from him? Finally they arrived at a large, circular chamber. The walls glowed with an eerie blue light, and in the center of the room, a massive, crystalline structure pulsed with energy. Lee recognized it instantly, a KRYLL communication hub. He had studied the schematics of similar structures during his time on the Dauntless. This was where the KRYLL transmitted their messages across the vast distances of space, coordinating their fleets, directing their conquests. The KRYLL warrior gestured towards a platform near the communication hub. Lee hesitated, his instincts screaming at him to turn back. But he knew he had no choice. He stepped onto the platform and the warrior activated a switch. A beam of light shot down from the ceiling, enveloping Lee. He felt a strange tingling sensation, a jolt of energy that coursed through his body. He gasped but no sound came out. He felt his mind being probed, his thoughts laid bare. The KRYLL were accessing his memories, searching for information about humanity, about Earth, about their technology. Lee tried to resist, to shield his thoughts, but it was like trying to hold back a tidal wave. The KRYLL's mental probes were too strong, too invasive. They were delving into the deepest recesses of his mind, uncovering secrets he had long forgotten. He saw flashes of his childhood, his parents, his friends. He saw his time at the university, his passion for astrophysics, his dreams of exploring the stars. He saw his recruitment into the space program, his training, his journey aboard the Dauntless. He saw his first encounter with the KRYLL, the attack on the Dauntless, the chaos, the fear. And then, they reached his most recent memories, the events on the Dominator, his conversations with the other prisoners, his observations of the KRYLL technology. He felt a surge of panic. He couldn't let them have this information. He had to protect his crew, protect humanity. He focused his mind, trying to create a mental barrier to block the KRYLL's probes. He saw the same questions reflected in their eyes. They were all adrift, lost in the vastness of space, facing an unknown enemy. Suddenly the cell door hissed open and a KRYLL warrior entered. He gestured to Lee, indicating that he was to come with him. Lee's heart pounded in his chest. He had no idea where he was being taken, what awaited him. He could only hope that whatever it was, he would be able to endure it. He followed the KRYLL warrior out of the cell, into the labyrinthine corridors of the Dominator, his fate hanging in the balance. And paid the price. HFY Stories was led through the twisting corridors of the Dominator, the alien architecture a bewildering mix of smooth organic surfaces and sharp metallic edges. The air hummed with an almost palpable energy, a strange vibration that resonated deep within his bones. He passed chambers filled with strange, pulsating machinery, glimpsed alien creatures moving in the shadows, their forms fleeting and indistinct. The KRYLL warrior escorting him remained silent, his expressionless mask fixed on Lee, adding to the growing sense of unease. Where were they taking him? What did the KRYLL want from him? Finally they arrived at a large, circular chamber. The walls glowed with an eerie blue light, and in the center of the room, a massive, crystalline structure pulsed with energy. Lee recognized it instantly, a KRYLL communication hub. He had studied the schematics of similar structures during his time on the Dauntless. This was where the KRYLL transmitted their messages across the vast distances of space, coordinating their fleets, directing their conquests. The KRYLL warrior gestured towards a platform near the communication hub. Lee hesitated, his instincts screaming at him to turn back. But he knew he had no choice. He stepped onto the platform and the warrior activated a switch. A beam of light shot down from the ceiling, enveloping Lee. He felt a strange tingling sensation, a jolt of energy that coursed through his body. He gasped but no sound came out. He felt his mind being probed, his thoughts laid bare. The KRYLL were accessing his memories, searching for information about humanity, about Earth, about their technology. Lee tried to resist, to shield his thoughts, but it was like trying to hold back a tidal wave. The KRYLL's mental probes were too strong, too invasive. They were delving into the deepest recesses of his mind, uncovering secrets he had long forgotten. He saw flashes of his childhood, his parents, his friends. He saw his time at the university, his passion for astrophysics, his dreams of exploring the stars. He saw his recruitment into the space program, his training, his journey aboard the Dauntless. He saw his first encounter with the KRYL, the attack on the Dauntless, the chaos, the fear. And then, they reached his most recent memories, the events on the Dominator, his conversations with the other prisoners, his observations of the KRYL technology. He felt a surge of panic. He couldn't let them have this information. He had to protect his crew, protect humanity. He focused his mind, trying to create a mental barrier to block the KRYL's probes. She fired again, taking down another warrior. She grabbed Lee and dragged him towards the exit. They ran through the corridors, pursued by the KRYL. They reached a docking bay where a small KRYL shuttle was preparing for launch. Volkov knew this was their only chance. She hotwired the shuttle, ignoring the strange alien controls. The KRYL were closing in. Volkov fired the shuttle's engines, the roar echoing through the docking bay. The shuttle lurched forward, breaking through the docking bay doors and into the vast expanse of space. They had escaped the Dominator, but their ordeal was far from over. They were adrift in space, hunted by the KRYL, carrying secrets that could determine the fate of humanity. And Lee was unconscious, his mind violated, his memories stolen. What had the KRYL learned? What would they do with this information? The answers and the climax of this intergalactic war were yet to come. Ori, the small KRYL shuttle, commandeered by Volkov, hurtled through the inky blackness of space, a tiny speck of defiance against the backdrop of the KRYL empire. Lee remained unconscious, his mind a battleground between the lingering effects of the KRYL's mental probe and the trauma of the escape. Volkov, her hand still stinging from the energy pistol, monitored the sensors, constantly scanning for any sign of pursuit. The Dominator was undoubtedly aware of their escape, and it was only a matter of time before they sent out their hunters. She knew they couldn't stay in the shuttle for long. It was too small, too vulnerable. They needed a safe haven, a place to regroup, to assess the damage and to plan their next move. Her mind raced, searching for any allies, any resources, any hope in the vast expanse of space. Then she remembered a whisper, a rumor she had heard on the Dauntless, a story of a hidden outpost, a sanctuary for those fleeing the KRYL's wrath. It was called Sanctuary Station, a neutral zone where races from across the galaxy could find refuge. It was a long shot, a gamble, but it was their only hope. Volkov plotted a course for Sanctuary Station, pushing the shuttle's engines to their limits. The journey was fraught with tension. Every blip on the radar, every flicker of light in the distance, sent her heart racing. She knew the KRYL were relentless, that they would not give up easily. They were not just hunting them, they were hunting the information Lee carried in his mind, the secrets they had gleaned from his thoughts. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Sanctuary Station appeared on the horizon. It was a sprawling space station, a chaotic hub of activity, a melting pot of different species. Volkov guided the shuttle into a docking bay, relieved to have finally reached a safe haven. She helped Lee out of the shuttle, his body still limp, his eyes closed. She knew she had to get him medical attention, but she also knew that they were not entirely safe. The KRYL's reach extended far and wide, and Sanctuary Station, despite its neutrality, could be infiltrated. She carried Lee to the station's medical bay, where a gruff but compassionate medic examined him. "He's been through a lot," the medic said, his voice laced with concern. "His mind has been violated. It will take time for him to recover." Volkov nodded, her heart heavy. She knew that Lee's recovery was crucial. He was the key to understanding the KRYL, to finding a way to defeat them. But time was a luxury they didn't have. The KRYL were coming. As she waited for news about Lee's condition, Volkov decided to explore the station, to gather information, to find any allies. She wandered through the bustling corridors, observing the diverse races that populated the station. She saw traders, mercenaries, diplomats, refugees, all united by their desire to escape the KRYL's grasp. She overheard whispers of rebellion, of resistance movements forming in the shadows. She realized that Sanctuary Station was more than just a refuge, it was a breeding ground for hope, a spark of defiance in the face of overwhelming power. Suddenly, a commotion erupted in the station's main concourse. Volkov rushed to the scene, her hand instinctively reaching for the energy pistol. She saw a group of KRYL warriors, their masked faces impassive, their weapons raised. They had found them. The KRYL warriors moved with ruthless efficiency, cutting down anyone who stood in their way. They were searching for Lee for the information he carried. Volkov knew she had to protect him, protect the secrets he held. She engaged the KRYL warriors, her movements swift and deadly. She was outnumbered, but she was determined to fight to the death. She had come too far, sacrificed too much to give up now. As she battled the KRYL warriors, she noticed something strange. One of the KRYL warriors seemed different from the others. He was smaller, his movements more agile. And his mask, it was slightly different, more ornate. He moved towards Volkov, his weapon raised. She braced herself for the attack, but then he did something unexpected. He lowered his weapon and spoke, his voice distorted by the vocoder in his mask, but the words were clear. "Captain Volkov," he said. "I have been searching for you." Volkov stared at him, her mind reeling. How did he know her name? And why wasn't he attacking her? "Who are you?" she demanded. The KRYL warrior hesitated, then reached up and removed his mask. Beneath the mask was not the reptilian face of a KRYL warrior, but the face of a human. A young man with haunted eyes and a look of desperation. "My name is Alex," he said. I was one of the scientists on the Dominator. I know what the KRYL are planning. And I know how to stop them." Volkov stared at him, disbelief warring with a flicker of hope. A human scientist on the Dominator? It seemed impossible. But the look in his eyes, the desperation in his voice, convinced her that he was telling the truth. "What do you know?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Alex took a deep breath. "The KRYL," he said, "they're not just conquering worlds. They're searching for something. An artifact. A weapon of immense power. Something they call the Celestial Key." He paused, his gaze meeting Volkov's. "And they believe that humanity holds the key to finding it." "The Celestial Key?" Volkov echoed, her mind struggling to grasp the implications. "What is it?" Alex shook his head. "I don't know exactly. The KRYL keep it secret. But I overheard their leaders talking. They believe it's a weapon, a key to controlling some ancient power. Something that could make them invincible." He looked around nervously. "We have to get out of here. The KRYL will be back and they won't stop until they find us." Volkov nodded, her mind already racing. She knew they had to find Lee to get him to Sanctuary Station's data core. If the KRYL believed humanity held the key to finding this celestial key, then perhaps Lee's memories, despite the violation, held the answers. They found Lee in the medical bay, still unconscious. Volkov and Alex quickly explained the situation to the medic, who agreed to help them move Lee to the data core. They knew they were taking a huge risk, but they had no choice. At the data core, they connected Lee to the station's systems, hoping to access his memories, to find any clue about the celestial key. Alex, with his knowledge of KRYL technology, helped them navigate the complex interface. They delved into Lee's mind, sifting through the fragmented memories, the distorted images, the echoes of the KRYL's mental probe. It was like navigating a maze, a labyrinth of thoughts and emotions. Suddenly, a series of images flashed across the screen. Strange symbols, ancient ruins, a celestial map. Lee's subconscious, it seemed, had retained fragments of the information the KRYL had sought. Alex recognized the symbols. "It's an ancient language," he said, his voice filled with excitement. "I've seen it before in some of the KRYL's archives. It's a map to something." They worked feverishly, trying to decipher the map, to pinpoint the location of the celestial key. The KRYL were closing in, their presence felt throughout the station. Time was running out. Finally they cracked the code. The map pointed to a remote star system, a system shrouded in mystery, a system the KRYL had long ignored. It was a long shot, but it was their only lead. Volkov knew what they had to do. They had to reach that star system before the KRYL. They had to find the celestial key, or at least understand what it was before it fell into the wrong hands. They grabbed Lee, still unconscious, and made their way back to the shuttle. As they prepared for takeoff, the KRYL attacked, a full-scale assault on Sanctuary Station. The station's defenses fought back, but the KRYL were overwhelming. Volkov and Alex managed to launch the shuttle, narrowly escaping the station's destruction. They were once again adrift in space, but this time they had a purpose, a destination. They were on a quest for the celestial key, a quest that would determine the fate of humanity. They reached the designated star system, a desolate place with only a few barren planets orbiting a dying star. The map led them to a hidden moon, a moon shrouded in perpetual darkness. They landed the shuttle and ventured into the moon's interior, following the map's cryptic clues. They discovered an ancient temple, a structure built by a long-vanished civilization. Inside the temple they found the celestial key. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't a tool of destruction. It was a key. A literal key designed to unlock something far greater than any weapon. It was a key to understanding the universe, a key to unlocking the secrets of creation. As Volkov held the celestial key in her hand, she realized the KRL had misunderstood its purpose. They had sought power, they had sought domination. But the celestial key was not about power. It was about knowledge, about understanding, about the interconnectedness of all things. Suddenly, the KRL arrived, their warships appearing in orbit around the moon. They had tracked them down. The final battle was about to begin. Volkov knew they couldn't fight the KRL. They were outnumbered, outgunned. But she also knew that they couldn't let the KRL have the celestial key. She made a decision, a desperate gamble. She activated the celestial key. The temple began to glow, a blinding light emanating from its core. The ground began to shake, the air crackled with energy. The KRYL warships in orbit were suddenly disabled, their weapon systems failing. The celestial key was not a weapon, but it was a disruptor. It disrupted the very fabric of space-time, creating a localized field that neutralized advanced technology. The KRYL's reliance on their technology had become their downfall. The KRYL warriors on the moon were also affected, their weapons useless. They were stranded, powerless. Volkov, Alex, and Lee, still unconscious, escaped the moon in the shuttle, leaving the KRYL behind. They had won not through force but through understanding, through using the KRYL's own arrogance against them. But as they journeyed back to Sanctuary Station, a final twist emerged. Lee stirred, his eyes fluttering open. He looked at Volkov, his eyes filled with confusion. Where am I?" he asked. "You're safe now," Volkov replied. "We're safe." Lee shook his head. "No," he said. "You don't understand. The Kara, they didn't want the celestial key for themselves." He paused, his gaze fixed on Volkov. "They wanted it, to destroy it." "Destroy it?" Volkov repeated, her voice barely a whisper. The revelation hung in the air, heavy with unspoken implications. If the KRL hadn't wanted the celestial key for themselves, then their pursuit of it took on a chilling new dimension. They hadn't sought power, they had sought to prevent others from obtaining it. But why? What threat did the key pose that was so terrifying the KRYL would rather see it destroyed than used? Lee, still disoriented, struggled to articulate his thoughts. "The KRL, they believe the key is too dangerous," he stammered. "They believe it should never be used. They think it could unravel the fabric of reality." Volkov exchanged a look with Alex, both their faces etched with concern. The implications were staggering. If the KRL were right, then their victory might be short-lived. If the key was truly as dangerous as they claimed, then they had just unleashed a force they couldn't control. They returned to Sanctuary Station, a changed place. The KRL attack had left its mark, scars visible both on the station and in the faces of its inhabitants. But the news of the celestial key and the KRL's true intentions had spread like wildfire, igniting a new wave of fear and uncertainty. Volkov, Alex, and Lee were hailed as heroes, but they knew the truth. They hadn't saved the galaxy, they had merely postponed the inevitable. The real battle was yet to come. Lee, after recovering from the mental probe, dedicated himself to understanding the celestial key. He pored over ancient texts, deciphered the cryptic symbols, and pieced together the fragments of knowledge he had gleaned from his encounter with the KRL. He discovered that the key was indeed a powerful artifact, capable of manipulating the fundamental forces of the universe. But it was not a weapon of destruction as the KRL had feared. It was a tool, a key to unlocking the universe's deepest secrets, a key to understanding the very nature of existence. The KRL's fear, Lee realized, stemmed from their rigid adherence to control. They feared anything that could disrupt the established order, anything that could challenge their dominance. They saw the celestial key as a threat because it represented the unknown, the unpredictable, the potential for change. Volkov, meanwhile, worked to unite the disparate races of Sanctuary Station, forging a coalition against the KRL. She knew that humanity, despite its internal conflicts, was not alone in this struggle. Other races, oppressed by the KRL, shared their fear, shared their desire for freedom. She traveled to different star systems, meeting with leaders of other civilizations, pleading for their support. She spoke of the KRL's tyranny, their relentless expansion, their fear of the unknown. She spoke of the celestial key not as a weapon but as a symbol of hope, a symbol of the potential for a better future. Slowly but surely her efforts began to bear fruit. Races that had once been enemies put aside their differences and joined forces against the common enemy. The rebellion grew, fueled by a shared desire for freedom and a determination to resist the KRWL's oppressive rule. The final confrontation was inevitable. The KRWL, realizing the threat posed by the growing rebellion, launched a massive offensive, determined to crush the resistance once and for all. Their warships descended upon Sanctuary Station, a vast armada blotting out the stars. The battle was fierce, a desperate struggle for survival. The Allied forces, outnumbered but united, fought with courage and determination. Volkov, at the helm of a hastily assembled fleet, led the charge, her ship a beacon of hope in the darkness. Lee, using his understanding of the celestial key, devised a plan to disrupt the KRWL's technology on a wider scale. He worked with the station's engineers to create a device that could amplify the key's disruptive field, neutralizing the KRWL's weapons and ships across a vast area. The plan was risky, a long shot, but it was their only hope. As the KRWL warships rained down fire upon Sanctuary Station, Lee activated the device. A wave of energy pulsed outwards, engulfing the KRWL fleet. Their weapons sputtered and died, their ships became dead in the water. The tide of the battle turned. The Allied forces, emboldened by the KRWL's sudden vulnerability, launched a counterattack, overwhelming the stranded warships. The KRWL, their technology useless, were forced to retreat, their dreams of conquest shattered. The war was over. The KRWL's reign of terror had come to an end. Sanctuary Station, once a refuge for the desperate, became a symbol of resistance, a testament to the power of unity and the indomitable spirit of those who dared to defy tyranny. In the aftermath of the war, the galaxy was forever changed. The KRWL empire crumbled, its conquered races liberated. Sanctuary Station became a beacon of hope, a place where different species could coexist in peace and harmony. Volkov, hailed as a hero, dedicated her life to building a better future, a future where all races could live in peace and cooperation. Lee continued his research, delving deeper into the mysteries of the universe, using his knowledge to benefit all of humanity. The celestial key, its power now understood, was carefully guarded, its secrets protected. It was a reminder of the dangers of unchecked power, a symbol of the importance of understanding and respecting the delicate balance of the universe. And so, the galaxy entered a new era, an era of peace, an era of understanding, an era of hope. The human spirit, tested in the crucible of war, had emerged stronger, more resilient, more determined than ever to explore the vast expanse of the universe, to learn from its secrets, and to build a future where all races could thrive. The encounter with the KRWL had been a trial by fire, a harsh lesson in the realities of the galaxy. But it was a lesson that humanity and the galaxy would never forget. The memory of the war, the memory of the KRWL, would serve as a constant reminder of the importance of unity, the importance of understanding, and the importance of cherishing the fragile peace they had fought so hard to achieve. And though the threat of the KRWL had been vanquished, the vastness of space held countless other mysteries, countless other challenges, waiting to be discovered, waiting to be faced. The journey of humanity and the journey of the galaxy was far from over. It had just begun.